They can't miss. They know they have to get it right, too. We might have to grit. We might have to grit. We might have to go for this ride. We might have to put on an extra coat because it's going to get snowy. But I trust it.
Talking the Sauce Gardner thing, that's making the rounds. Mel Kiper talked about it as well. And it's just, for me, it's not my thing, especially with Jeff Okuda on the books for $10 million next year. And it's always going to circle back to that. And for me, it's not because it's the Lions being the Lions. I separate Brad Holmes based on one draft. I separate him from the last 20 years of GMsmanship with the Detroit Lions. So I can delineate that. If they did go that route, I'm much the same in the DMAC camp where it's Brad Holmes. I'll grit my teeth and I'll say, okay, this is the way. But it's always going to go back to the Jeff Okuda thing, which is independent of Brad Holmes.
That's not his
doing.
Mistake, right?
I understand that, but God damn it, man! Like it's twofold. That's such a crushing mistake. Twofold. Number one, you use the number 3 pick on Okuda. Then number 2, the contract stays with you to the tune of $10 million on your cap next year.
Here's a great one that came in through Chuck, and this leads right into you, right? So is it true as the money guy that to draft a quarterback, a left tackle, a defensive end, or a wide receiver at number 2 because what the salary you'd have to pay? In a perfect world, right? What Chuck's saying here is that in the perfect world, if that person was there at that position, that's how you'd plug them in, right? Like that's where it looks like it, but it might not happen that way, right? And I think you make a good point. It's not that we're out here cheerleading for him to make this outrageous pick or whatever else. What Neil just said is the whole thing. We might have to grit. We might have to grit. We might have to go for this ride. We might have to put on an extra coat because it's going to get snowy. But I trust it. And I trust it, and I think it'll work out until I don't trust it, right? And either the grin and the teeth are going to loosen up, or you're going to crush your teeth and you're going to end up eating cream of wheat the rest of your life. So it doesn't matter. It all comes back around to cream of wheat. But you're right. Some of these names that are being told is just like, okay. But again, I trust the process, and I trust Brad Holmes. So money-wise, you'll have to, if this happens, you're going to have to go through it, and you're going to have to break it down on how this will work, how this will work, how this will work. But these are conversations they're already having.
And Adam Baydoun from the Morning Woodward Show. Yes, Adam, I see your comments on there. Yes, I do. I'll read one right here for you. Adam Baydoun from the Morning Woodward Show says, I'd rather take a slap shot to the, to use another hockey term, to the deke. The deke, you know, when you're out in the open ice, deke the goalie. I'd rather take a slap shot to the deke than the Lions drafting a corner at number 2. And again, for me, I won't like it. I won't. But the resume precedes Brad Holmes to me, even on one draft. 3 starters, 1 draft, 1 possible gold jacket guy, and a wide receiver whose entire Lions contract is less money than Kenny Golladay will make next September.
They know they can't miss. They know they have to get it right too. They're sitting, you know.
See, and that's one thing, DMAC, where I know everybody's saying that. I'm not in that camp where they have to hit this number 2 pick. I don't look at it that way. I look at 7 rounds of a draft. If they pull 3 starters, we ride.
I guess let me rephrase that. They're going to get it right for what they're planning on doing. Right, to your point, it's been, right, where's the strength in Brad Holmes' drafts? 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds, right? Like the getting the guys later, getting the value. So I'm not worried as much as this number 2 pick has to be the all-pro, end-all, be-all, like everybody says. But what I need to see is that he's part of this class, right? We have to look at it moving forward in the future of the Lions, like we look at other teams. Oh, look at their draft class from 2010. Look at this team's draft class from 2012. That's how we want to be known. And to your point, Neil, yeah, you're right. As a whole, right? As a whole. So to this point, Amon-Ra St. Brown as a 4th rounder, and the way that he's progresses the whole 2020 draft, right? You know, as far as it makes them all more valuable because of his value. So in saying that, right to your point, I look for more all of these players have an impact. Like no matter where this person's picked, that he might be effective on this team. Why? Because of the history that Holmes has shown in drafting.
And somebody earlier in our discussion here brought up the point. They said the Lions know who they're taking. I agree with you. And again, I apologize missing who that was that said that. I do agree with you. Do you think the Lions know who they're taking right now?
I think that but here's the first you have to ask the question, do you think Jacksonville knows who they're taking? And I don't. So I think that Detroit's got two guys that they're going to say depending on what Jacksonville does, but it's weird too in this draft too, because do you think Jacksonville knows who they're taking? You know what I'm saying? So it's
who
not.
Knows? Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. So the unpredictability. So do I think that Detroit has two guys that they want, depending on what Jacksonville takes? Yeah. Do I think that if Hutchinson drops to them, will they take him? I think that probably the safest pick if they're going that way, right? Because of culture, because of everything that everybody says, you know, being a Dan Campbell guy and stuff. But I think that it's between two people. I think they have it down to two. And honestly, one of them could be Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Be prepared.
And that's where, again, I'm not saying it's happening, guys, and I'm not calling for it. If we were going to do this non-edge type scenario, if you're talking like the Sauce Gardners, the Kyle Hamiltons, then just push all the chips in and take a spin.
They probably got a 1A, the Chuck Brewer says. They probably got 1A, 1B, and then they're going to, wait to see if anybody rings the bell.
Yep.
Right? Because that's, you always have to, how many times, it happens every draft. Somebody panics. Some team panics or whatever and makes a deal to move up, to move around, to trade guy. Does it happen every year? Like there's that one team, last year in Chicago with Justin Fields, right? I just think that whether maybe not up to two, but there's some stuff that might go on and we might be involved. Just be prepared.
Yeah, NFL Draft Junkie, it's Trayvon or Kayvon. I'm not as much on the Trayvon bandwagon like everybody else is. I mean, at what point, where's the numbers? You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the accolades? Where's this guy was feared? I don't see it. And that is the one positive, I guess, to Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner was feared by little programs, like we called Alabama and stuff like that.
So when you look at the bigger things, so now weigh out the pros and cons of what you see moving into the pros. So that's the stuff that I look at and say, okay, yeah, I don't totally disregard what Mel Kiper says about the rumblings of Sauce Gardner too because of that, Neil. And if that goes into the ingredients that Brad Holmes wants, be prepared.
Jack Harrington says Adam Beydoun would jump off the bridge if the Lions take Willis. No, he wouldn't, because Adam Beydoun's a reasonable man, and the risk to the reward is there. Like, you can break down the math and go show. Like I always said, you can take a quarterback in the first round for the next 5 years. They're still cheaper. All of them combined are still cheaper than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the math is. I'm just trying to give you guys
or
the math
Derek
implications.
Carr. You see, like, now the
or Derek Carr. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what the math is.